Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So I have to give my opinion on Victor Wembanyama. I mean, I'm sure like a lot of you guys right now, I am really shocked by just the type of player I saw him playing against Scoot Henderson. You know, we've seen highlights here and there, you know, and just checking out different videos and whatnot, but just seeing him in like that scenario going up against the other guy and just the numbers he put up and just looking at a player of that size do those things, in my 22 years of watching basketball, I'm shocked, man. I'm shocked. And I know there's people out there saying that we're being hype beasts or maybe we're giving the kid too much credit. I don't think so, man. Like, before recording this video, the last thing I read about Victor was NBA Scout saying Rudy Gobert meets Kevin Durant. And based off of what we saw him do against Scoot Henderson, that's pretty damn realistic. I mean, this kid's jump shot, the fluent motion of it is just something you should not see in a 7'4" player with an 8-foot wingspan. Just arms are not supposed to move like that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's why you got tall ass players that are just always so kind of like slow and sluggish or don't move very quickly, but he literally moves like a guard. And I physically, scientifically don't really understand him, man, which is already why I am deeming him the nickname of the demigod. Like, that's literally what he is. But then I was thinking about it. I think Victor Wembanyama is the perfect player to become the new face of the NBA. And I wasn't quite sure if he had the charisma to do so. But then I remember just like reading the other day, he was being asked about, you know, Scoot Henderson. And he was saying that Scoot Henderson, you know, most years would go. He basically said, I'm paraphrasing here, that if Victor was never born, then Scoot would be the number one pick in the draft. Yo, one second here, guys. Let me fix my webcam here. I got the green screen thing on, so it's making my NBA Jam machine look all crazy. My apologies about that. But yeah, so he's got that cockiness to him, but not like in a bad way, more in a confident way, which I love. But I also think about just where the NBA has come over the past few decades, and the more it's called the National Basketball Association. I think it should be the WNBA, the World National Basketball Association. No, that's, but you know what I'm saying. Like the international game is definitely expanding. It's been expanding. I mean, the dominant players in the NBA, like so many of them are international players, and the idea of an international player becoming the face of this now global sport, I think would be a beautiful thing to witness. Because I think about, you know, who exactly are the faces of the NBA over the years. Because that's the thing, when I say Victor Wembanyama as the face of the NBA, that's a huge statement. Because there's so many great players out there, and I know a lot of people want to say, no, like Devin Booker's the next face of the NBA, or Jason Tatum, and both great basketball players. To me, the past three faces of the NBA, I would say, was Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan was the face. Really up. I mean, I would say until he retired, right? Would you still say he was the face during the Washington Wizard years? Because he was still in the league and people were caring about that and everything, right, man? And then it was LeBron James. Now, you could argue maybe there was a few years early on, maybe like a transitional from MJ to LeBron where like Kobe was the face. Like that's kind of what I was thinking. I think that's okay to say. And then LeBron was the face forever. And in a way, he still is, but also not like in the way that he once was. I don't know. I've kind of considered more like Steph Curry the face of the NBA, really the past few years. And maybe that's wrong of me to say, but I don't know. I just feel like the way that Steph Curry changed the game of basketball, like it did that. And I feel like Victor is now like the next player, you know? Like Steph Curry is the transition between, okay, LeBron getting up there in age, like we still care, but nobody's like obsessed as much anymore about what he does. I mean, people are still obsessed, but it used to be crazy, man. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority on that one, speaking about LeBron in that sense, but I feel like we still care, but just like the story, it's no longer as important. It's still important. And now Steph Curry's kind of like, okay, like look at the greatest shooter of all time, what he's doing, and then, you know, once his window moves on, it's like Victor's next up. And I really think that's a realistic case. I think the NBA's in a really good place, though, going forward, man. Like, you know, I'll say as I get older, you start living through more like generations and eras of basketball. And, you know, when you're a kid watching, the players you watch are really just the players you know. And it's like what I mean by that's a weird statement, just like saying the players who watch players. No, I mean, it's like that's all you've really known about the game of basketball. And then you start getting older, and guys like Tim Duncan or Dirk Nowitzki start retiring, and now we're getting older where it's like Derrick Rose just had his 34th birthday, and Steph Curry's in his 30s, LeBron James is gonna be retiring pretty soon, Kevin Durant, all those guys. And you get sad on the nostalgia, but then you start witnessing these new players coming in the NBA and just the way they play, and you fall in love with the game all over again. I find myself in that type of transitional period, man, because a big part about your love for the game of basketball is your favorite team. And for me, the Pistons were my favorite team, and it's really been like a very boring 10 past years as a Piston fan. But now that they're getting good again, getting guys like Cade and Ivy and Sadiq Bey, Beef Stew, all those guys, Duran, it's been fun again. It's been fun again, and you start seeing and when you start drafting good, you start being more competitive with like the other fan bases and who they drafted, and now it's like It's always fun duking it out with Scotty Barnes and the Raptor fans, or Jalen Green and the Rocket fans. Now you got Ivy added on to like Keegan Murray and Chet and Paolo and Jabari and all those guys. It's fun again, man. And just like being part of that transition, and now getting to also have the NBA acquire two new, I think, franchise cornerstones in Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson. It's just fantastic. We can really see like this new era transitioning. And I think we're in a really good place. So I was thinking okay, I think there's going to be a big time tankathon. I know you can't really tank in the NBA completely anymore because of how they do the draft lottery odds and everything. But I think for the most part, you're not going to look at teams just simply battling for a playoff spot. I think that if you're a team that you truly believe you're a contender and you can, get as far as anybody else, which the NBA is that deep, then yeah, you're going to go for it. But I think if you're a team that you're teetering on the play-in tournament, then it's like, all right, maybe you load manage this one night, or maybe you don't play the vets as much as some of the young bloods one night, and you put yourself in that position to go for that draft lottery spot, man. And I mean, I would say teams like the Charlotte Hornets, or even like the Indiana Pacers, those are teams that, yeah, if they played optimal basketball, they might, or I would say the Detroit Pistons, who I'm talking about the Eastern Conference strictly right here, obviously, but those are teams where it's like, yeah, they could play their asses off and maybe get to the play-in tournament. But do you want to this season? Do you really want to take that chance, and lose out on one of those guys? So, yeah, just looking real quick here at the standings, I'm trying to find which team I would like Scoot and Victor to go to the most. I would say as far as Victor, I'd love to see him on the Charlotte Hornets play with LaMelo Ball. I think that would be really exciting for the game within itself. The San Antonio Spurs, and then just him becoming the new Tim Duncan. I think we can all kind of see that. And obviously he's not Tim Duncan because he's a different type of player, but just that great, just damn generational big man that you just start building around. I think that would be exciting, and definitely a team that could really use somebody like that. And then you think of guys like Scoot Henderson, like I was saying, as far as which teams would I want him to go to? I mean, it's really kind of hard to say because, the Washington Wizards, I guess, him playing next to Bradley Beal would be kind of interesting if they don't make the playoffs. I'm just looking at other teams here, man, just seeing the Houston Rockets. I know y'all love Kevin Porter Jr. I like him at point guard over there too, so I think that's fine. But if the season wasn't to work out and you wanted to go more of that natural point guard, I guess, which I don't know. I'm a believer in Kevin Porter. I think he's fine, but it would be kind of nice seeing him next to Jalen and Jabari. Ain't going to lie about that. A lot of different ways you can look at it. So, Victor Wembanyama, 7'4" player, still growing, by the way. Seems like every single time I watch him, he's growing even more. Can shoot, can handle it, can play defense, can play help defense, which is extremely important. It's one thing to be able to just lock up your own guy, but to actually be a straight up Rudy Gobert anchor for your team, that's game changing within itself. I don't know, man. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited for the next NBA season, but damn, I already feel really, really excited for next NBA offseason. That's all we got for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.